coin in your pocket is a lie. That scratched, toned, dirty piece of metal you were about to spend on a soda might just be the most valuable and expensive United States ultra-rare coin you have ever held. This Roosevelt dime from the Philadelphia Mint looks like junk, but hidden in its worn surface is a tiny detail that could transform 10 cents into a collector's fortune. Stop scrolling. Grab your magnifying glass. What you are about to discover will make you see every old dime in your change jar with a whole new level of suspicion and excitement. Let's cut straight to the coin that has sent ripples through the numismatic world. A small silver-colored disc that proves true value doesn't always come with a century of age. We are talking about the 1979 Roosevelt dime, but not just any example from that year. We are zeroing in on the Denver Mint issue, the one bearing that tiny yet critical D mint mark just above the date. At first glance, it looks like the same dime you might get back in change at a coffee shop, a coin so common that most people would never give it a second thought. But beneath that unassuming surface lies a story of modern minting, a fierce collector chase, and price tags that can make your head spin, all because of a single factor: condition. This is the coin that teaches every collector a vital lesson, that in the world of numismatics, the line between pocket change and a prized possession is often drawn by the sharpness of a strike and the luster of the metal. To understand why this dime commands such attention, we have to look back at the year 1979 and the immense scale of its production. The Denver Mint, working at full capacity, churned out over 390 million of these dimes, a staggering number that would suggest absolute ubiquity. Yet this is precisely the paradox that makes the 1979 D so fascinating, because high mintage does not equal high availability in premium condition. Most of those 390 million coins were released directly into circulation, where they were shoved into vending machines, dropped into parking meters, and jostled against keys and other coins in countless pockets and purses. The few that were set aside by early collectors or pulled from mint rolls are the true outliers, and their survival in a state that mirrors the day they were struck is nothing short of miraculous given the sheer volume of handling they were destined to endure. Now let us pause and appreciate the artistry that has graced this coin since 1946, a design that remains a masterclass in classic American engraving. The obverse features the stoic, left-facing profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a portrait crafted by chief engraver John R. Sinek that captures the resolve and determination of the man who led the nation through depression and war. Sinek's initials, JS, appear at the base of the neck, a subtle signature that often goes unnoticed by the casual observer. On the reverse, we find a dynamic composition centered on a towering torch of liberty, flanked on the left by an olive branch symbolizing peace, and on the right by an oak branch representing strength and endurance. The D mint mark, positioned just to the right of Roosevelt's truncation, is the defining feature for our discussion, and it is the clarity and condition of that tiny letter that can dramatically influence a coin's ultimate worth in the marketplace. The conversation about rarity here is not about how few are made, but about how many survive in specific, untouched conditions, a concept known as condition rarity. Circulated examples of the 1979 D dime are for all practical purposes worth only their face value or perhaps a slight premium of 15 to 35 cents, which makes them utterly unremarkable. However, the moment we step into uncirculated territory, the story changes entirely. According to leading price guides, a specimen graded Mint State 65 might bring a modest but respectable return, while an example reaching Mint State 67 has been valued in the range of $24. But the real fireworks begin at the very top of the grading scale, where an MS-68 coin, representing near-perfect preservation with full original luster and no distracting marks, can see its value soar to over $450, a staggering multiplier from its original 10-cent face value. What drives collector demand for this otherwise common date is the relentless pursuit of perfection, a quest that unites the entire numismatic community. Within the long-running Roosevelt dime series, which has its own dedicated following of registry set builders, the 1979 D stands as a challenging puzzle piece, because acquiring a truly gem-quality example is far more difficult than its mintage numbers would suggest. The most obsessive collectors hunt for what is known as the full bands designation, a technical award given by grading services when the horizontal lines on the torch's central bands are completely clear and fully struck from the dies. This is a rigorous standard that rejects even slightly weak strikes, and a 1979 D-dime that earns this designation alongside a top-tier grade can command a premium that far outpaces its non-designated peers, making it a crown jewel in any advanced collection. For the savvy collector looking to seek out this treasure, the strategy must be laser-focused on condition, grading, and eye appeal. Do not waste time searching pocket change for a high-grade example, because the odds of finding an MS-68 coin in the wild are astronomically low. Instead, turn your attention to original mint sets, uncirculated rolls, and dealer inventories that feature coins that have been untouched since 1979. When you examine a potential purchase, scrutinize the luster, which should be bright, cartwheel-like, and uninterrupted by dullness or hazing. Check the strike, especially on Roosevelt's hair details and the torch's bands, for sharpness and complete definition. And above all, invest in professional grading from trusted third-party services like PCGS or NGC, because a certified slab not only protects the coin, but also provides the definitive grade that unlocks its true market value, turning a raw coin into a verifiable asset. In the end, the 1979 D. Roosevelt dime is a beautiful contradiction, a coin that is simultaneously one of the most common and one of the most challenging to own in exceptional quality. It reminds us that numismatics is not merely about age or mintage figures, but about the patience to find the exceptional within the ordinary and the knowledge to recognize perfection when it stands before you. For the newcomer, it offers an affordable entry point into the world of modern coin collecting with the promise of a thrilling hunt. For the seasoned veteran, it presents a test of discerning eye and dedicated pursuit, a coin that demands respect for its subtlety and rewards those who understand its true nature. So the next time you see that familiar profile of Roosevelt, take a closer look, because the difference between a dime and a discovery might just be the gleam of its luster and the sharpness of its strike. If this deep dive into the 1979 D-dime has sparked your curiosity, you will not want to miss our next exploration, where we turn our attention to another modern marvel, the 1982 no-mint-mark Roosevelt dime, a coin born from a forgotten die and a production error that turned an ordinary issue into a coveted rarity. That story is coming up next, so stick around and keep your magnifying glass handy. This small piece of modern American currency that proves value is not always about age, but about the relentless pursuit of perfection. We are talking about the 1981 Roosevelt dime, specifically the issue from the Denver Mint bearing that all-important D mint mark, a coin that on the surface seems as common as pocket change, but in reality holds a secret worth a staggering premium. While many dismiss the clad coinage of the late 20th century as too ordinary to matter, the 1981 D-dime has carved out a surprising and compelling niche in the numismatic world. It is a coin that captivates enthusiasts not because it is ancient, but because finding one that meets the highest standards of preservation is akin to searching for a needle in a haystack, making it a prized treasure for those who know exactly where to look. The historical backdrop of this coin is deeply rooted in the legacy of one of America's most beloved presidents, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and the series that bears his name began in 1946, a fitting tribute to the man who fought polio and championed the March of Dimes. By 1981, the Roosevelt dime had been in continuous production for over 3 decades, and the Denver Mint, operating at full steam, struck an enormous total of 712,284,143 of these dimes that year. This massive mintage places the 1981 D firmly in the category of a common date, yet this high production number is precisely what creates the fascinating paradox of its value. Almost all of those 712 million coins were released directly into the stream of commerce, where they traveled through wallets, cash registers, and vending machines, accumulating the scratches and scuffs of everyday life. The few examples that were carefully pulled from mint rolls or sets and preserved in pristine condition represent a vanishingly small fraction of the whole, making the 1981D a tangible connection to a specific moment in early 1980s American history, a time of economic transition and cultural change. When we examine the unique features of this coin, we encounter the iconic and enduring design created by chief engraver John R. Sinek, a portrait that has become one of the most recognized faces in American numismatics. The obverse showcases a precise and detailed profile of President Roosevelt, a likeness that art historian Cornelius Vermeule praised for its full force of character and faithful portrayal. The reverse presents a powerful and symbolic composition of a torch of freedom flanked by an olive branch, representing peace, and an oak branch, symbolizing strength, all elements that were deeply resonant in the post-war era. The Denver Mint mark, that small but crucial D found just above the date on the obverse, is the key identifier that distinguishes this coin from its Philadelphia and San Francisco counterparts. In high-grade condition, the luster on the coin is satiny and brilliant, making the design pop with an almost three-dimensional quality that is incredibly appealing to the eye. The true scarcity and collector demand for the 1981 D-dime are driven almost entirely by the concept of condition rarity and the hunt for a specific design detail known as full bands. For a coin with a survival estimate of over 7 million examples in all grades, finding one in truly excellent condition is remarkably difficult, with estimates suggesting that only about 356,000 survive in MS65 or better. However, the pinnacle of desirability is reserved for coins that earn the full bands designation, meaning the horizontal lines on the torch's central bands on the reverse are fully defined, sharp, and unbroken. This standard is incredibly hard to achieve on a mass-produced business strike, and a 1981 D-dime that combines a top-tier grade with full bands becomes a rarity of the highest order. The challenge of finding such a specimen, a coin that looks as if it was struck yesterday, is what fuels the intense passion of series collectors and registry set builders. This brings us to the heart of the matter, the current market value, and this is where the story of the 1981 D-dime becomes truly astonishing. While a circulated example might only fetch between 15 and 35 cents, a gem-quality uncirculated specimen can climb to $30 or more. But the real fireworks begin when we introduce the full bands designation. According to pricing guides, a 1981 D-dime graded MS65 with full bands can be valued near $162, an MS66 around $317, and an MS67 soaring to approximately $1,187. The absolute peak of the market, a flawless MS68 with full bands, reaches a truly breathtaking value, with some estimates placing it near an incredible $14,445, a figure that transforms a 10-cent coin into a major numismatic asset. This astronomical premium demonstrates how the confluence of a high mint state grade and the coveted full bands designation can unlock levels of value that would have seemed impossible for such a modern coin. For the dedicated collector seeking to add this gem to their holdings, the advice is straightforward but requires patience and discernment. First and foremost, prioritize certified coins from the top grading services, because an official grade in a protective slab is the only way to guarantee the condition and the full band's attribution. When searching, focus on the strike and luster. Look for brilliant, cartwheel luster and razor-sharp details on Roosevelt's hair and the torch bands. It is wise to engage with the numismatic community through forums and coin clubs to stay abreast of market trends and auction results, and always purchase from reputable dealers who stand behind their material. Proper storage in a non-PVC holder is essential to preserve the coin's condition, and avoiding unnecessary handling will protect its pristine surfaces for generations to come. In conclusion, the 1981 D. Roosevelt dime is a stunning testament to the enduring appeal of condition rarity in numismatics, proving that even the most common dates can hold extraordinary value when they are preserved in their finest form. It is a coin that embodies the thrill of the hunt, the appreciation of fine artistry, and the potential for a remarkable return on investment, all packaged in a small, unassuming disc of copper and nickel. This is a piece that every collector, from the novice starting their first album to the seasoned expert seeking a registry set upgrade, should aspire to own. It represents the very essence of the hobby, a celebration of history, design, and the relentless human drive to find perfection in the most unexpected places, and its legacy as a prized collectible is certain to endure for many years to come. If this deep dive into the 1981 D-Dime has sparked your curiosity, you will not want to miss our next exploration, where we turn our attention to another modern marvel, the 1982 no-mint-mark Roosevelt dime, a coin born from a forgotten die and a production error that turned an ordinary issue into a coveted rarity. That story is coming up next, so stick around and keep your magnifying glass handy. The most valuable and expensive United States ultra-rare coin that you have probably never considered, the 1985 D. Roosevelt dime. But we are not talking about a shiny, flawless gem from a museum display case. We are talking about a coin that looks like it survived a war, a coin that is dirty, scratched, and possibly even damaged. You might be holding a piece of pocket change that appears utterly worthless, a grimy, beaten-up disc that most people would toss into a Coinstar machine without a second thought. Yet, it is precisely this kind of ugly, old, and ruined coin that has the potential to shock viewers and seasoned collectors alike with a value that defies logic. The condition and damage you see are not just flaws. They are the fingerprints of history, and in the world of numismatics, that history can be worth an incredible amount of money. The 1985 D-Dime was minted during a time of significant economic and cultural change in the United States. The early 1980s were a period of recovery following the deep recession of the early part of the decade. By 1985, the American economy was experiencing a boom, driven by a surge in consumer spending and technological innovation. However, the U.S. Mint was grappling with the relentless escalation of metal costs. The copper and nickel that make up the dime's clad composition were becoming more expensive, putting constant pressure on production budgets. This economic climate created a perfect storm for the mint, where quality control sometimes took a backseat to the sheer volume of coins needed to fuel the expanding economy, resulting in the production of a massive number of dimes that were rushed into circulation to meet commercial demand. The 1985 D. Roosevelt dime was struck at the Denver Mint, and with a reported mintage of over 587 million coins, it is far from rare in the traditional sense. This immense production number, the largest for the series in that specific year, means that finding a pristine, uncirculated specimen is a genuine challenge, but that is not the angle that will make you rich. The value for the coin you are looking for, the one that is old and scratched, does not come from its mintage figures. High mintage does not always mean low value, especially when you consider the specific errors or condition anomalies that can turn a common coin into a treasure. If you have a coin that looks like it has seen decades of abuse, you are not looking for a generic example. You are looking for a survivor that tells a story of survival against the odds. Now let's talk about that physical condition, the very thing that makes this coin so valuable. Imagine a dime with deep, jagged scratches across Roosevelt's face, a layer of grime so thick that the date is barely legible, and surface discoloration that suggests it might have been buried in the earth. But the most intriguing element is the striking anomaly. Many 1985 dimes, from both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, are known for a peculiar weakness in the strike. You might see flattening or excessive concavity near the rim, a condition some experts attribute to improperly heat-treated dies that caused die sinking. This is not just post-mint damage. This could be a mint-made error that is highly collectible. The damage is the story, and a coin that looks like it has been through a war but still bears the hallmarks of a mint era is a piece of history that collectors crave. Collector psychology in this niche is fascinating because it defies the traditional rule that only perfect coins are valuable. A growing segment of modern collectors actively chase damaged, extreme, or visually shocking coins because of their emotional appeal and the compelling story they carry. It is the thrill of the hunt and the narrative of a coin that has not led a pampered life in a velvet-lined drawer, but has been a witness to daily life. The 1985 D-dime is a key example of this phenomenon. The potential for a mint era, combined with the visual shock of a coin that has been harshly worn or chemically altered, creates a narrative that is far more engaging than a common, perfect coin. Collectors are looking for uniqueness, and an ugly 1985 D with an anomaly is one of a kind. Beyond the appearance of wear, the true value of an ugly 1985 D-dime often hinges on the presence of specific anomalies. One of the most compelling theories is that of die sinking, where improperly heat-treated obverse dies caused significant flattening and weakness in the strike, especially near the rims. You might also look for evidence of a severe lamination issue, where a layer of the metal simply fell away, leaving a crater in the coin's surface. Corrosion from environmental exposure, or the potential for a double die effect where the design appears to be slightly overlapping, are also realistic possibilities. While these are speculative without professional grading, a coin that exhibits these traits, combined with extensive wear and a dirty, scratched appearance, transforms from a simple coin into a potential specimen of extreme interest. The auction market behavior for such a piece can be highly unpredictable, and this is where the value truly explodes. In today's hyper-connected world, a unique coin with an interesting story and a shocking appearance can gain virality on social media, driving passionate bidding from around the globe. Specialty auction houses recognize that emotional bidding can cause prices to surge far beyond traditional price guides. Even a coin that looks ruined can become the center of intense collector competition. While a standard circulated 1985 D-dime might only be valued at a few cents over face value, a coin with a full bands designation in pristine condition can already reach $70. This proves that the potential for value is already baked into the date, and a damaged coin with a confirmed mint error could easily capture that same, if not more, collector attention. In a theoretical high-end auction scenario, imagine your 1985 D-dime, dirty and scratched, but with a certified mint error like a significant double die or a dramatic die-sinking anomaly. While standard examples are common, a coin with these extreme characteristics could see its value explode. Based on the market behavior for error coins and the premiums commanded by rare varieties, it is not inconceivable that such a unique, heavily characterized piece could achieve a shocking price. A coin with a compelling narrative, authenticated by a grading service, could easily become a five-figure or even a significant collector's prize. It serves as a powerful reminder that coin collecting is not just about perfection, but about history, survival, and the unpredictable nature of a market driven by passion and competition. As we close this exploration, remember that the 1985 D. Roosevelt dime is a testament to the unpredictable nature of our hobby. It is not the flawless, polished coins that always hold the most mystery. Sometimes it is the ugly ducklings, the ones that look destroyed, that have the power to build a collection. The 1985 D is a historic survivor, a piece of the 1980s economic boom, and a modern marvel of what can go wrong at the mint. So the next time you find a dirty, scratched, and old coin in your change, do not spend it. Take a closer look, because you might just be holding a small fortune that the world has overlooked. And speaking of fortunes hiding in plain sight, next time, we will take a magnifying glass to the 1995 W. Roosevelt dime, a coin from the West Point Mint that was never released into circulation, making it one of the most elusive and valuable dimes of the modern era. The coin in your pocket is a lie. That dirty, scratched, toned piece of metal with a profile of a president on it, the one you were about to toss into a vending machine, might just be the most valuable and expensive United States ultra-rare coin you have ever held. We are talking about the 1995 P. Roosevelt dime, a coin that looks like it has been through decades of abuse, yet holds a secret that could make your heart stop. It is not the shiny, flawless specimens from auction catalogs that always command the highest prices. Sometimes, it is the ugly, worn, and overlooked survivors that carry the most shocking value. And for this particular dime, the difference between pocket change and a collector's prize comes down to a detail so small, so easily missed, that you would need a magnifying glass just to see it. So stop scrolling, pull out that old jar of coins, and get ready to learn why this ordinary-looking dime is anything but ordinary. To understand the true potential of this coin, we must first travel back to the year 1995, a pivotal moment in American history that shaped the nation and its currency. This was the dawn of the commercial internet age, a time of economic prosperity and technological revolution, with the rise of companies like Microsoft and the launch of Windows 95 changing how people lived and worked. The United States was experiencing a period of relative peace and booming consumer confidence, and the US Mint was running at full capacity to meet the demands of a cash-hungry economy. In Philadelphia, the minting presses churned out over 1.1 billion Roosevelt dimes that year, an astronomical figure that would lead any rational person to assume the coin is utterly worthless. But as any seasoned numismatist will tell you, high mintage numbers can be the ultimate deception, because value is rarely about how many were made, and almost always about how many survive in a condition that collectors actually desire. The Roosevelt dime series itself is a profound piece of American legacy, a tribute to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who passed away in 1945 just as the world was emerging from the shadow of World War II. The dime was chosen for his portrait because of his deep connection to the March of Dimes, a charity he founded to combat polio, making this small coin a vessel of both memory and gratitude. The design, crafted by chief engraver John R. Sinek, features a stoic, left-facing profile of Roosevelt on the obverse, with the word liberty arching above and the national motto in God we trust to the left. The reverse is a powerful composition of a central torch symbolizing liberty, flanked on one side by an olive branch representing peace, and on the other by an oak branch symbolizing strength and endurance. This design has remained virtually unchanged for decades, meaning the 1995 P-dime is a direct descendant of that original tribute, carrying the same artistic weight and historical significance. Now let us get to the heart of the mystery, the detail that transforms a scratched, toned, and circulated 1995 P-dime into a potential treasure. The key lies in a designation known as full bands, or simply FB, a term that refers to the horizontal lines on the central bands of the torch found on the reverse of the coin. For a dime to earn this distinction, those lines must be fully separated, sharp, and clearly visible, with absolutely no weakness in the strike. Achieving this on a mass-produced coin is remarkably difficult, as the dies wear down quickly and the high-speed presses often fail to deliver a perfect impression. And here is the shocking reality. While a standard worn 1995 P-dime might only be worth 15 to 35 cents, a coin that earns the full bands designation, even in a circulated state, becomes a different proposition entirely. The concept of condition rarity takes hold, where the value of a coin is not about its mintage, but about how few examples survive in a specific high-quality state. This is where collector psychology and the fierce world of registry set competition come into play. Modern collectors are obsessed with building the finest, most complete sets possible, and the 1995 P-dime becomes a difficult puzzle piece for anyone attempting to achieve a high rank. To stand out among their peers, they need examples in the highest possible grades, and with the full bands designation, creating intense demand for a coin that was once considered common. This competition drives prices upward, with auction records showing that such specimens can command hundreds of dollars. An uncirculated example graded MS-67 with full bands is considered scarce, with only a handful known to exist. But when you factor in the condition of the coin you might find, the ones that are scratched and toned, the importance of professional grading becomes paramount, because a coin that has been improperly cleaned will lose much of its collector appeal, while natural tunning is often seen as a mark of originality and desirability. The rise of social media and online auction platforms has only amplified the potential for shocking prices. A unique coin with an interesting story, a coin that looks like it has survived a war, can gain virality, leading to passionate bidding from around the globe. Prices can exceed traditional price guides, especially when a coin possesses a rare mint error or a dramatic variety. While a pristine MS-68 FB coin could easily command many hundreds or even over $1,000, The most dramatic sales often involve error coins, like the 1968 No-S proof, which can trade for over $300,000. This demonstrates how the combination of rarity, condition, and a specific variety can lead to auction results that defy logic. The 1995 P dime, with its high mintage and its potential for the full bands designation, sits in a sweet spot where the unexpected is always possible. So what is the current market value for this elusive coin? For the average circulated coin, expect it to be worth its face value, but for a gem quality specimen with the full bands designation, the value climbs significantly. A coin graded MS65 with full bands can be valued around $75, an MS66 around $135, and an MS67 soaring to approximately $275. The absolute peak of the market, a flawless MS68 with full bands, reaches a truly breathtaking value, with estimates placing it near $1,000, a figure that transforms a 10-cent coin into a major numismatic asset. The challenge of finding such a specimen, a coin that looks as if it was struck yesterday despite its age, is what fuels the intense passion of series collectors and registry set builders. As we close this exploration, remember that the 1995 P. Roosevelt dime is a stunning testament to the enduring appeal of condition rarity in numismatics, proving that even the most common dates can hold extraordinary value when they are preserved in their finest form. It is a coin that embodies the thrill of the hunt, the appreciation of fine artistry, and the potential for a remarkable return on investment, all packaged in a small, unassuming disc of copper and nickel. This is a piece that every collector, from the novice starting their first album to the seasoned expert seeking a registry set upgrade, should aspire to own. It represents the very essence of the hobby, a celebration of history, design, and the relentless human drive to find perfection in the most unexpected places, and its legacy as a prized collectible is certain to endure for many years to come. And speaking of fortunes hiding in plain sight, next time, we will take a magnifying glass to the 1996 W. Roosevelt dime, a coin from the West Point Mint that was never released into circulation, making it one of the most elusive and valuable dimes of the modern era.